Hello my friends and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be unhauling some books. If you watched my previous video this week, I have a new bookshelf, so I was organizing all my books and I decided to unhaul some because I don't want to keep these anymore. So basically either I read these and didn't care that much for them, or I read them and they were just alright, but not something I want to keep or feel the need to keep. Or some of these are books that have been on my TBR for like a year or more and I'm 100% sure I'm not gonna read them. So that's the qualifications for the majority of these books. I'll give you kind of a brief overview of like why I'm not keeping it, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. Yeah, I guess let's just get started. I actually don't know how many I have here. I think it's about 30 some books, so I'm actually pretty proud of that. But yeah, let's just get started. So the first book that I am unhauling is 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. I DNF'd this book. I did not like it at all. I will never pick this back up. I will never try to read this again. I already know that. It's a thriller set during the pandemic, and honestly, it was boring. I didn't want to read about what I'm living through, and honestly, I just didn't like it. I didn't feel the need to continue on. I didn't care about the murder. I didn't care about anything. So, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it. Next up, Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I did not like this thriller. I don't like it. I don't want to keep it. Look, I did not enjoy it. I'm not a fan, so I'm not gonna keep it because I just know that I don't need it in my life. I don't need it on my bookshelf taking up space that could be space for a book that I actually enjoy and actually want to keep. So I'm just gonna bye-bye, no thank you, see you later, never again actually, hopefully. Same thing with The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. Did not enjoy, was not a big fan of it. I thought it was an irritating thriller. Which is unfortunate because I really wanted to like it, and it is a snowy, isolated thriller, which we all know I'm absolutely in love with, but this was just not for me. I didn't care about anything really, so I'm just gonna go ahead and not keep it, and hopefully someone who actually wants it will get it because I don't want it. The Push by Ashley Audrain. Again, didn't like it. It's not a book for me. It's not a thriller in my opinion. It's not what it was supposed to be in my opinion. I didn't personally like this book, so I will be unhauling it because I will not reread it. I don't want it. So yes. Good Neighbors by Sarah Langan. Again, didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. It was a weird thriller that I don't know, I just didn't vibe with it. I thought it was strange. I didn't like the sinkhole aspect. I thought that was weird. The whole plot is just kind of infuriating and the characters are infuriating, and I don't know, it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. So again, just gonna not keep it because if I don't like it, why keep it? Next up is a book that I actually haven't read, but it's been on my TBR for so long, and I just don't think it's gonna be for me. I just don't think I'm gonna really enjoy it, and that is The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. I've had this for a really, really long time. It's about like an outbreak that causes fits of like rage. It kind of reminds me of The Violence that I have on my TBR, and that one sounds more interesting to me. There's just something about this that doesn't interest me. I don't know. I haven't picked it up yet, so I just feel like if I've had it for over a year and I haven't picked it up yet, why would I pick it up now? So I'm just gonna unhaul it. I don't see a point in having it on my TBR. Next up is actually a book that I read a while ago and I actually think I ended up liking, and that's Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. But honestly, I don't really remember it. Like, I do vaguely, but like, I don't know, it just like, it doesn't like fill me with joy, or like, I can barely remember the plot. So I feel like I didn't like it as much as I thought I liked it, and it's just so big, and I will probably never reread it. So I don't know, I just feel like I'm gonna unhaul it, because I don't know why I have it. Like, I just don't know why I have it. I don't know, there's no explanation for this one. I think I enjoyed it, but for some reason, I just can't seem to like really remember it. So I'm just gonna get rid of it. Next up is a book that I feel like people are gonna be mad at me for, but that is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it that much. I didn't care for it. I gave it like 3 stars because for the experience, it's an interesting book to read because it's kind of a crazy experience. That's really all I rated it that high for, because honestly the plot for me is at least a 2-star. It was boring. I didn't really find it that interesting or engaging. I don't find it to be scary in the slightest for me. So I honestly only kept it because it's like a horror classic and everyone talks about it, and I for some reason feel the need to have kept it because of that reason, but honestly I don't care for it, so it's just taking up space and I'm gonna not keep it. So next up we have The Uninvited by Dorothy McCardle. I read this for my subscribers pick my TBR last September, and this was just really boring. I should have DNF'd it because I didn't really like it. So it's just a typical like gothic haunted house story that didn't work for me, and I just didn't really care about it. So I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm sorry, but it's not my type of book. I do really like the green though. Like, look at how pretty that is. It's a very nice like looking book, but I can't keep it for that reason because I didn't really like it, so it's gotta go. Next up we have The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. I DNF'd this last year in like August, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't see myself picking it back up. I just don't think it's for me. I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it, so I'm just gonna see you later, book. I don't know. I just can't imagine myself picking it back up, honestly. I have so many other books that interest me way more than this, so I'm just not gonna keep it. Another one that I feel like people are gonna be super sad about is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. We know I did not like this book. It's my least favorite Stephen King so far. I'm pretty sure this is probably my least favorite Stephen King. I don't want to keep it. I will never reread it. I don't even want to keep it for like collector's purposes because I'm not a Stephen King collector. I don't collect his stuff just to collect it. I only keep the ones that I enjoy, so there's no reason for me to even have this one. So I'm just gonna get rid of it. I Know What You Did Last Summer by Lois Duncan. If we remember my review, I absolutely hated this book. I think it is laughably awful. I think it is so bad. I can't even believe that it's supposed to be the book that the movie's based off of, because the movie is just far superior in my opinion. I just didn't really like this. It's not for me. It's not my type of book. I only read it because it's a slasher and because I love the movie so much, but there's really no point in me keeping this, so I'm going to get rid of it. Next up is The Watcher by Charles McLean, or McLean, I don't know how to say their name. Did not like this book at all. I read it like 2 Octobers ago or something like that. There's a horrible dog death scene, and it was disgusting, and it happens at the very beginning of the book. And I was traumatized the whole time while reading it, and it wasn't even satisfying, like at the end of the book, like the whole thing, it wasn't satisfying in the slightest, so there was no reason for me to even finish the book, and I didn't like it, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Next up we have another classic, and that's Naomi's Room by Jonathan Aycliffe. I know everyone loves this book. I found it to be boring and slow and not that exciting in the slightest, and I didn't like it, so I'm not gonna keep it because If I don't like it, why would I keep it? I don't know. There's no reason for me to keep this, so I'm going to unhaul it. Next up, we have The Demonologist by Andrew Piper. Honestly, I don't even remember this book. Like, I don't remember anything about it. I think the person is like some expert on demon literature or something like that, or demon books or stuff about demons. I don't remember. But honestly, I don't care. It doesn't, nothing about it even interests me. I can't even remember anything about it. Like, I don't remember a thing. You know what? I remember the ending. I just remember the ending. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't care enough. Next up, we have Clown Flesh by Tim Curran. This is an extreme horror novel, and it has to do with clowns, obviously. I like the premise of this, and I love the cover. The cover is awesome. I would keep it for the cover alone. But this is just not my kind of extreme horror. It has to do with a lot of like graphic scenes depicting assault. And it just wasn't for me. The clowns were weird. I don't know. It just wasn't what I was expecting it to be. It was just very like sexually extreme, and I'm not a fan of that in my horror. So this was just like a weird experience, and I just didn't really enjoy it that much. The cover, freaking phenomenal though, but I just don't want to keep the book. It's not something I want to keep in my collection. Next, we have C.V. Hunt's Horrorama, which has 3 novelettes inside of it. This was okay. It was just fine. I didn't really like love any of the stories. I think there was only one that I like actually really enjoyed. The other 2 were just kind of like okay for me. So yeah, I wasn't that big of a fan of it. So I just don't feel like keeping it. I don't think I should keep it if it's not really awesome to me and one of my favorites. So this one pains me, but Paradise Club by Tim Meyer. This is a slasher set in the summertime. It's a perfect summer slasher read. However, it's a weird slasher. It takes on a kind of different direction towards the end and leans out of the slasher arena, and for that reason I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. It's not a typical slasher in my opinion, and that's what I wanted, is a typical slasher. So this just wasn't a book for me, unfortunately. But if you're looking for a non-typical slasher for the summertime, you might enjoy this, but it's not my kind of story. Next up, we have A Tale of Madness Unlovely by Risa Faye. I read this last August, and honestly, it was so not enjoyable for me to read. It was just a chaotic reading experience. I'm assuming that was the point. The author was trying to make it chaotic for a purpose, but for me, it was just so hard to follow and to understand and to grasp. I was very lost the whole time, and it made my reading experience very unenjoyable, and it just wasn't satisfying in the slightest for me. I wouldn't read it again, and I didn't enjoy it enough to keep it, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. So next up, we have Scanlines by Todd Kiesling. This is a novella. This just wasn't my kind of thing. I think if you like kind of tech horror like The Ring and stuff like that, you might like this. It just wasn't really, I don't know, it just didn't mesh well with me. Everyone seems to really enjoy this. I like the idea of the plot. I don't know, it just didn't really like hit me. It didn't connect with me. It has that like nostalgic 80s vibes, 90s vibes. I feel like a lot of like 90s and 80s kids can like relate to it. I don't know, it just didn't work for me, and I really enjoyed what the author was trying to do. It just for some reason didn't click with me. So yeah, I'm just not gonna keep it because I didn't really enjoy it that much. So next up, we have The October Boys by Adam Millard. I reviewed this for October a few years ago. The cover is absolutely beautiful. I love it. but this is basically the same plot as It by Stephen King. It feels very misogynistic at times. Like, the male characters are very, I don't know. I don't like the way the women are talked about or described. It's just, I don't know. The women come off very, like, whiny and naggy, and it's very annoying, and the men are very just rude and misogynistic, and I just didn't care for it. I liked the idea of it, like an ice cream man kind of thing. It was a very cool idea. And I liked the idea of it being like It but condensed, because It by Stephen King is so freaking long. But this just, I don't know, I didn't like it. It just didn't work for me. So, I love the cover though. I love the cover, but I'm just not gonna keep this. So, next up we have The Apartment by S.L. Gray. Honestly, I remember nothing about this book. I think I liked it, but it's been so long and I really don't remember it at all that I feel like I shouldn't keep it for that reason. Like, I can't even remember anything about it. I remember one scene, one freaking scene, and that's all I can remember. And I just don't think I need to keep it. I don't know. I can barely remember it. And I don't feel the need to reread it, or I don't feel like this deep love towards it or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of it. So next up is White Pines by Gemma Amor. I love Dear Laura by Gemma Amor. It's one of my favorite novellas of all time. I absolutely freaking love that book. This one just didn't really work for me. It's supposed to be a mix of cosmic, folk, Celtic, cult, fantasy, horror. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. This is not my thing. I don't like cosmic horror. I'm not a cosmic horror fan. It just never really vibes with me. I don't know. This just didn't work for me, okay? But if you love cosmic horror, you'll probably love this, and I love Gemma's writing. I think she's extremely talented. Dear Laura is amazing, like I said, but this just isn't, it's just not my vibe, okay? I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't really like it that much, so it's gonna go find a different home. We have another favorite, another classic, and that is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I don't like Gone Girl, don't care for the movie, don't care for the book. I just personally don't think it's that exciting or thrilling or fascinating or anything like that. It's just, it wasn't for me. I just didn't really get the same feelings that everyone else did when reading it. I was bored most of the time while reading it, so I don't know. It just doesn't work for me as well as it does for other people. So I'm just gonna not keep it, because I will never reread it. I will never reread it. I know that for a fact. Here's another one that I haven't read, and it's Cradle of Parasites, and it's by Sarah Tantlinger. And the reason I am going to unhaul this is because it is horror poetry, and I don't like poetry. I'm not a big fan of poetry. It doesn't really work for me. I've tried horror poetry before, and it just doesn't, I'm just not a big fan of poetry. So I'm going to never read this. It'll just sit on my TBR forever. I just know it will. So I'm going to give it a new home, because I'm not going to be one to read it. I'm not going to end up reading it. I know that for a fact. So yeah, I'm gonna find someone else who will. We have another book that I haven't read, and that is Ghostland by Duncan Ralston. I don't know how to say their name. Honestly, it's like a haunted park attraction thing, and then like a computer virus is gonna let like ghosts free in the park or something like that. It sounds cool, but again, it's been on my TBR for like 2-3 years now, and I haven't touched it, and I don't think I'm going to touch it. So, pretty sad that I'm not gonna end up reading it, because I feel like I probably would like it, but for some reason I just know I'm not gonna read it. So for those reasons. Next up, Later by Stephen King. It came in a subscription box. I'm not gonna read this. I know I'm not gonna read it. I don't typically read Stephen King anymore anyways. I've seen people talking about this one. I just don't think I'm gonna like it. I don't think I'm gonna want to read it. So I'm just gonna unhaul it for someone who probably will like to read this Stephen King. I just know I will not get to it, so. Okay, now we have a true crime book. This is America's First Female Serial Killer. I don't read a lot of true crime, honestly, anymore. I really don't. True crime is, it's just not something I typically like to read. I like to listen to it, like on podcast form or on YouTube. I just don't spend my time reading it. And I just know I will not end up reading this. I just know I won't, so. It's also going to get sent to a new home. Next we have Nana by Brandon Massey. So yeah, I read this. I thought it was okay. Thought it was just kind of average. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. And for that reason, that's why I'm unhauling it. I mean, I thought it was a pretty decent book. I liked the story. I think it was an interesting concept. But for me personally, I just didn't, I don't know. It just didn't end up being a favorite. So for those reasons, I'm going to give it to a new home. Next, we have The Homecoming by Andrew Piper. I don't remember this at all. I really don't remember it. I think I liked it, but honestly, if I can't even remember the plot, I don't know why I'm gonna keep it. Because again, probably not gonna reread it. It's just taking up space for books that I will probably end up loving on my TBR. So I am just gonna give it to a new home. So, not much to say about it. I literally don't remember this book at all. I'm pretty sure I did a book review Friday on this one too, and I don't even remember it. I could go look through it, but honestly, I don't even care enough. So, just gonna give it to a new home. Next up, we have Nyla's or Neela's, I don't know how to say it, Babies by Jack Simonson. I bought this for the cover. I kept it for the cover. I think the cover is absolutely stunning. I think the plot is very strange. I think the whole book is very strange. It's about Lilith, like going after these twin babies to like to like have their bodies for like youth or whatever, and the babysitter or the nanny taking care of the twins has to like stop her, and there's like a weird romance between the nanny and the baby's dad, and it's just like really, I don't know, it was very strange. It was very strange. I did not enjoy it, did not like it. I only kept it for the cover, and for that reason, I have to get rid of it. Okay, next up is a cover that I'm pretty sure I cannot show, and that's Body Art by Christopher Triana. This was like one of my first extreme horror novels, and this was just not, it was not for me. It's very, very, well, I know it's extreme horror, so it's graphic, but it's just like a lot of like, I don't know, it just felt like it was extreme for no reason except to just be extreme. It felt like it didn't have a plot that needed it, you know what I mean? And I absolutely love Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana, but this one just wasn't for me. It was too much. It was too much. And honestly, I'm just not a big fan of extreme horror most of the time, and this really isn't for me. It's very, very graphic, very sexually driven. I just, you know, lots of stuff that I don't care for. Lots of gross stuff. And I'm covering it up because I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to show stuff like this or I won't get monetized. But yeah, I just didn't enjoy it, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Okay, next up is Wounds by Nathan Ballingrud, I think is how you pronounce their name. It's 6 stories from the border of hell. I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't my kind of horror. I know Wounds became a movie. I'm pretty sure I watched it. I didn't really care for that either. I don't really remember any of them except for the one that has to do with like a cell phone or something. Wasn't it a cell phone? I don't really remember, to be honest. I don't remember it. I know I didn't really care for it. I did a book review Friday, I'm pretty sure, on it, and it just wasn't my kind of horror, wasn't my kind of stories, wasn't my kind of writing. So for those reasons, I'm going to unhaul it and give it to someone who will enjoy it. Okay, those are all the books that I am unhauling. That's actually, I'm impressed. There's a lot of books that I'm getting rid of. I'm actually pretty impressed with myself, if I do say so myself. Pretty impressed, pretty proud of myself. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed and found it interesting watching me unhaul books that I don't like or won't read again or didn't, I don't know, all the reasons. I'm so tired, okay? So yeah, I hope you had fun. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And then I'll try to plan more unhauls eventually. For that to happen, I'm gonna have to read all the books on my TBR first because that has to be done. I'll try to plan to do more unhauls if you enjoyed this video. If you've read any of these, let me know what you thought, if you agree, if you would unhaul them. And yeah, subscribe, let's be friends, give this a thumbs up. I'm saying the same things over and over again. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I hope you're having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!